Hey, it's Michelle Green, and I'm getting ready to critique Crosslink Powder Coating, which is a Fort Worth based powder coating company. Um, and I'm going to go ahead and critique it. First off, I like the cleanness of the site. It's very easy to look at. I love the colors. I love that blue, very pretty shade. The logo is nice, simple, unique. I love it. I also like how they only have a few navigation links. They only have four. A lot of times people tend to want to stuff a lot of links in the navigation, which is very confusing to your visitor who really need they really need more direction as to what step you want them to take next. Putting too many links up there really is a distraction, overwhelms them, and oftentimes they'll just leave because it's just too much being thrown at them. So I love how simple this navigation is. They have the address up top, which is great. The only thing I would recommend up here would be to add the company name above it. It would cause you to have to widen this a little bit, the height a little bit, to get that in there. But Google does prefer that you have the name, address, and phone number in the same area. The phone number is down here. Ideally, it'd be better up here with this, but this is fine. It's not a huge deal. But you do want to have the name up here because that is a ranking factor for Google's local search results. And by local search results, these are local search results. Anytime you do a Google search and this map comes up, you're looking at local search results. And you can see that they're down here, third to this first one and this second one. So, having your name up there with the phone number might actually give you a little boost, maybe push you up above that one that's right just above you. And just to throw this in, guys, reviews are huge. Google does have a huge weight to your ranking based on your reviews. So it is good to have reviews, and you want to have a process for getting reviews for your business. And one of the easiest ways to do that would be to include a leave us a review somewhere on your site. I wouldn't recommend putting it up here because again, you don't want to cluster this up, but maybe put it in a footer link or something down here or somewhere on the homepage down in the main content area. So I do suggest getting your Google My Business link so that people can click on it and leave you a Google review. That's going to help you get more visibility in Google search. And by the way, yes, you are ranked. At least you're coming up. So yes, that's good, but you won't always come up. That will be different based on the search, based on who's searching. Google does sort of distribute these, but the higher you rank, the more you will come up. So if you want to have your best chance of showing up, the best thing is to make sure that your reviews are growing and are positive. And I do see that you have 5-star reviews. You have 4 5-star reviews, so that's great. And as you can see, the one above here only has one 5-star review, and they're ranking above you. So that just could mean that there's something else that Google is looking at to give them that extra rank because they don't even have a website. So it could just be that their website has something better features or better content that's more relevant. Who knows? Google has a lot of different ranking factors, so there's a lot of things that we can look at, which is beyond the scope of this particular video, but that would be why they would show up versus you when you have more. They could also be more established. If they've been around longer, Google does give some push to someone who has been around longer than you. So, but again, there's many different factors. I'd have to dive a deep dive into that to be able to determine why, or even just come up with a reasonable, educated guess of why, because Google is very complex. But getting back to this, you have your get a quote up here. This is excellent. Call to action in the navigation up top above the fold is always ideal, and it stands out, which is what you want. Same thing down here. You have another call to action, and you have some artwork here that kind of draws attention to it, so that's good as well. You've got some content describing your different services. and this even seems to link to even more content, so that's good. Content is always good. The more content you have, by the way, the more opportunities you have for Google to pick you up in their search results. This is why it's so important to have a content strategy. And a lot of times business owners don't have the time to do this, so it is good to outsource that. If you don't have someone who can do that for you in-house, it's always good to outsource it. And a lot of times, trying to hire someone in-house who doesn't really have an expertise in that is usually not a good idea. It's almost always best to outsource that to somebody who is experienced in it. And you don't have to bring them on. You don't have to hire them on full time. So that's another benefit to going freelance or outsourcing it to perhaps an agency. So content is good. The more content, the better. The more content you have on the page is better as well. So not just different pages, but also any individual page. The more content you have, the more content Google has to eat up. Basically, content is their food, and it's like always think of Google as like Pac-Man. You know how Pac-Man goes and he gobbles up all those little dots. Well, that's content in our world, and Google, that's all their bots do is they go around the internet, digesting up all of this content, and then ranking it in their algorithm when you've met certain criteria. So this is why they're so complex. This is why you have to hire someone who's experienced, because you won't think of it, and you know what I'm saying, it'll just your efforts will be wasted because you're missing a lot of the critical pieces that go with it. So it is important to hire someone who really knows this stuff. I love that you have the quote here, and it is on every page. This is good. However, I would recommend creating a more elaborate form, because basically this isn't enough information for you to give them a quote, which means that you're going to have to get on the phone with them. You're going to have to ask them all these questions. This is going to be eating into your time and theirs, and that's taking away from you actually doing your work, where you can actually collect the information you need on the form. That way, when you have this information, you receive it, you can give them a call, and you've got all the information you need, and you're ready to just give them the quote and walk them through closing them on a sale. Okay, so definitely you want to make this form a little more elaborate to collect the information you need to be able to give them a quote. This will save you time, and it'll help you close them better because you'll be able to prepare a little more. You won't have to do everything on the spot while you're on the call. All right, you've got a gallery down here. This is great. This is great. Absolutely great. Your gallery is like a portfolio. For example, I'm a web developer, and I wouldn't have a site without a portfolio to show people my work. So if anyone who has a powder coating company, you're going to want people to see exactly what it is you do and how you do it and how nice your work is. So it's good that you have this here. I did find that it's a little, for me, it looks good, by the way. I'm not saying that it's bad or that it's wrong. I'm just saying that it seems like an odd place to put the gallery. But I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or that it's wrong. I've just never really seen it done like that before. So I'm not saying anything, pro or con about it. I'm just saying that it's unusual for me to see it just off to the side like here, and not in like a link or something at the top or somewhere else. But I do like it here, and again, it takes away from having to have an additional link up here. So I do like this. It is a nice touch. Another thing I would do, though, is incorporate some video. I've seen some other powder coating videos out there, and they just do a better job at showcasing the work, especially when it's done in the proper lighting, usually outside. You can kind of see the shine to it. You can see the quality of it a little closer. So I do recommend throwing in some video along with the images. And I know that that's a lot of work. A lot of people, I don't want to do video. I don't have the time to edit. Again, that's another reason I outsource. You can. It's first of all, it doesn't take much time to take the picture or to take the video. You can take 15 seconds to a minute to just capture the work that you've done real quick once you're done with it. And if you install Dropbox on your phone, you can just drop those assets into that folder immediately, and then have your whoever's managing your social media or whatever, they can grab it from there. They'll get a notification because you'll add them as a user to that folder. So as soon as you drop that in, they'll get a notification that you've placed something in there, and then they can take over from there. So it's not a lot of work to take advantage of social media and to get your digital assets put out there when you're working with a digital marketing company or a freelancer, because all you're really doing is capturing your work and dropping it in that folder, and you're done. You let your team handle it from there. So definitely make video and images a normal part of your project process. Make sure your guys are just getting used to doing it when they're done, because the more assets you put out there, the more opportunities you have to be seen. And photos and images are also considered content. Remember what I said about Pac-Man going through and eating up content? Images and video are also able to be picked up by Google. It hasn't always been the case for video, but nowadays you can have like a video sitemap or something to help Google acknowledge that video and include it in their results. And they do include YouTube videos in their results, so it should be a part of your normal marketing processes whenever you complete a new project. Let's see. You have a review down here. This is good, absolutely good. Reviews help to increase conversions. The only thing I would recommend is to add another call to action now, because once they've gotten all the way down to the bottom, you're throwing reviews at them, but where do they go from here? So give them the next logical step by putting get a quote button right down beneath here that will either take them to a dedicated page for them to fill out the quote, or when they click on it, it will jump back up here to the quote form. So that's another recommendation. One last thing I wanted to cover is the color chart, which I thought was a good touch, a great touch actually. And if you click on it, it's a PDF, and you can see the different colors, kind of like when you go to a paint store and they give you the little samples and things. So I do think this is a good touch. Sorry, my page is taking a little long, took so long to load, but I do think it's a good touch. The only thing I would say or add to this would be to not give them the whole thing. I would take just a sample of these color options and just show them the most popular colors, or maybe just show one section of these 3 sections you see here, but don't take a screenshot or something, but don't give them the whole thing. What I would do is make them opt in to get the rest of this. This is going to be your incentive to get them to opt into your mailing list. And then from there, you can start your email sequence can go out and start to close them for you 24 hours a day while you sleep. So, that's the best way. And that's something I didn't see. I don't know if this form is associated with an email form. If it is, great. If not, then that's another recommendation, is to definitely be collecting your leads. Collect your name and email. Hopefully you're not sending any paid traffic here without having an opt-in form. So I'm hoping that this quote form is associated with a mailing list. But if not, that's definitely something you should do. No questions about it. That's definitely something you should do, and start collecting leads and start following up with them automatically via email automation. Okay, so that's all I have. Hopefully you got some value from it. Hopefully there's some other people watching this that got value from it for their business. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and also comment and tell me what you learned. And if you have any comments as well, any advice or tips for this website, feel free to share it in a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.